I should have said how we met.
How we met,
How we met.
and got married, which is my favorite topic.
I don't really want to go into the details.
All right.
Some of the most embarrassing. I think I can.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to.
No, I can.
All right.
Truth be told, I had 2 dates that day.
Man. At that point, I was like, peace out. I don't care.
I think you were totally reading into that.
I think you said, so you think it's over? And I said, yeah, it's over.
Welcome to the We Can Talk About This podcast, conversations with Jonathan and Christa Throfall about ideas shaping us and the world we live in. And today we are talking about a very important idea that has shaped us. Mm-hmm. That's the idea of marriage.
Yay.
Marriage.
Yay.
You sound excited.
No, it's more than just marriage. We're not going to just tackle marriage in a 30-minute episode.
I should have said how we met.
How we met and got married, which is my favorite topic.
Your favorite topic?
Well,
I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm not going to put it above the Lord. Okay, God, okay. And then you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
This will be a fun topic.
I know. We're excited. And so we decided to do this because it's the day before Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And it's just a good day to celebrate.
Love.
Yes.
Each other.
Yes.
Our relationship.
Yep. I would like to make one small little note, and that is, if you notice the tree behind Jonathan, that is not a Christmas tree.
Oh. This tree.
That is called our winter tree.
Yes.
And I know some of you may be in the sunny South or the scorching Caribbean, but that we are in New Hampshire, and I like our inside to reflect our outside.
Yeah, and currently, even though this will be releasing in February, as I look your direction, beyond you, there is white snow.
It looks
all over the ground.
It looks exactly like our winter tree.
It does. Except there's more snow on. Well, yeah, there's snow on the trees. Yeah, snow on the ground.
You could also, if you saw that, you could also see I still have a pumpkin back there.
Pumpkins from Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Falls, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're not here to talk about pumpkins and Christmas trees or winter trees. We're here to talk about us and how we met. So, man, we didn't even really rehearse this, but where do we want to start? Want to start about the first time we saw each other?
At the very beginning, when we first laid eyes on each other. When I
first laid eyes on you, though.
I'll paint the scene. I'll paint it. I had freshly graduated from high school.
Oh.
It was June of 2004.
Wow.
And you had just finished your sophomore year in college. 2 years my senior. Okay. We were both working at a Christian camp in North Carolina.
Yes.
I was working there with my older sister, 4 years my senior. Mm-hmm. She had worked there before. She had gone to school with you, and she knew you. Mm-hmm. So my older sister and I were sitting in the staff lounge or something, and you and one of your friends came in, and my sister introduced me to both of you because I didn't know anybody.
Yep.
That was the first time I set my sights on you. And by set my sights, I mean I saw you.
And we played foosball together.
Yes. And boys against girls.
And Christa and her sister beat us badly. And not only did she beat us in foosball, but they whipped our pride big time. And I was not a good sport. I did not take that well. And I had a bad attitude. I don't remember what I said, but clearly I communicated that I did not like the outcome of that game.
Yeah, it was more than like, oh, bummer. And I don't remember what it was.
It infuriated you, too. I think you were upset that I was having a bad attitude. And
rightly so.
Didn't we end up apologizing to you?
You did. You did apologize. Yeah. Yes, for your bad sportsmanship.
I probably thought there might be reasons why down the road I should apologize. Little did I know that would serve me well in the days to come.
I will say.
Apologizing for bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, I got that. That's good. I will say, though, neither of us had any interest in each other.
No.
It wasn't like, we saw each other and we knew. It was love at first sight. It was just like, I met two fellow coworkers at camp. There was nothing else on my side and nothing else on your side. It was just...
No.
So we worked together. We worked together as in we were on staff together.
Yeah, but there's nothing that put us together in terms of, okay, we need to work on a project together. Nope. Nothing like that at all.
Yeah, just We passed like ships in the night.
Yeah.
And so that fall, I went to the same college you were at, and the society that I joined had a reverse courtesy dating outing. One of my worst nightmares. And you might say, but Christa, you didn't have to go. But
Christa, you didn't have to go.
But yes, I did.
Why?
Well, because I was the youngest of 4 kids.
I'm asking these questions on behalf of the audience. I already know the answer.
Know.
Because you're the youngest of 4, and
my dad had this policy that he wanted each of his daughters to go on this reverse courtesy dating outing.
To stretch you socially, to make you more well-rounded.
Yes. A valid point.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah. Well, freshman, didn't know anybody. And so I again enlisted the help of my older sister and said, okay, who should I ask out? She made a list of 3 guys. I called the first 2. They both said no. We don't have to go to why.
We don't need to, or we don't need to say who the guys were. We just need to point out the fact that I was number 3 on the list, the last one that you tried.
And he said yes.
I said yes.
And so we went on this dating outing together. And would you like to give the account of that?
I don't really want to go into the details.
All right.
Some of the most embarrassing. I think I can.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to.
No, I can.
All right.
Do you think the audience would appreciate hearing that?
Well, maybe we'll have to re-listen to What Do We Do When We're Discouraged after you tell it.
Well, truth be told, I had 2 dates that day.
Man, smoking.
While smoking in what sense?
Just all the girls wanted to ask you out, babe.
No. And one of the dates was to a football game, and not having grown up watching football or being into sports, I did not know how long football games lasted, but I conjectured that I would be able to finish up one date and go to the next, because yours was later on.
Just back to back.
This marks as one of the lowest, worst, most ungentlemanly, and shameful moments of my life. I
will say, one of the guys had said no because he was also on that.
So he knew better.
Yeah.
This is really embarrassing.
It's okay.
But I had to leave my date at that football game and go to the date with you.
Did he arrive in time for my dating outing? No, he did not. Picture this. At least one very large bus, maybe 2. Everybody and their dates are there, except for Jonathan.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to recount the story without blushing. My head is bowed in shame. I really do feel embarrassed talking about it. The only reason why I do now is just because I think it's funny.
You are covered in love. You can raise your head.
Okay, yes. Okay. But it is something that I've just, anyway, dastardly. And we went on that date, and I was just out to have a good time because some of my friends were on it, and it was a pirate-themed, is that right? Pirate-themed outing. And so I was supposed to be part of the unfolding drama on the bus. I produced some sort of sword from under my seat and sword fighting with someone else on the bus.
And really weird.
That began the drama of the outing. And it did not endear myself to you, did it?
No. I remember on the way back to campus, we're sitting next to each other, and I thought, I might as well make conversation with him. And I knew he had been a missionary kid, grown up on the mission field, and so I tried to strike up conversation with, I don't remember, so did you speak Korean or something like that? And I don't remember what you answered, but it was the sort of answer that let me know you did not want to continue the conversation. And at that point, I was like, peace out. I don't care.
I think you were totally reading into that because
maybe
I don't recall not wanting to talk with you. I just recall there's a lot of other things going on.
You wanted to have another sword fighting escapade.
I don't recall feeling any sense that you were overstepping your boundaries or being forward at all. Or that I didn't want to talk with you. I just, there was a lot going on. And again, I absolutely throw everything I did during that entire day under, the banner of shame and
it's fine.
unworthy.
So moving on from that, you can tell that did not go well. No. You know, it was just the sort of encounter that makes you realize you don't want any more encounters. Fast forward, maybe a year and a half.
This would have been, something like that.
Ish. And you reached out.
Right.
And you asked me out.
Yes. And it was
to an event at our college.
Yes. And it was because I had been praying about asking you out. And this actually came, so it was my second semester of my senior year, I'm pretty sure. And I had been seriously praying about marriage. And I wanted to ask you out. Well, I had thought about you, and I had seen you in a different light. I saw you in the dining commons, the dining hall area.
The morning light?
It was MOURIN. No. Morning.
Did you see me in the morning light as opposed to the evening light?
Whatever light puts you in the best possible light is the light that I saw you in. And I saw you, and you were with a group of friends, and I just remember you looked so joyful and beautiful and attractive.
Very sweet.
And I remember thinking, I'm going to ask that girl out because I think I want to marry her. Now,
wow.
That's what I thought. I literally thought that. Wow. And so because for me, I knew that this was...
Thank the Lord for that light. Whatever that light was.
It was not the light on you. It was the light from you. And I, at that moment, I said, I'm going to pray about this. So because I knew that this would be a trajectory setting moment for my life, the time that I decided, okay, I'm going to pursue this person for life. Like, that's a really big deal. And at the age of 20, I had no idea, maybe 21, how big of a deal it really was. I mean, you could, how much can you know at that age? And there may be some that are listening to us right now that are that age, and you can't know, right, how massive of a decision that is. Like, even in the very moment, is your mindset in the right place? Yeah. And so what I decided, that was near the end of the first semester, and I decided over Christmas break, about 3 weeks, every time I pray, I'm going to pray about whether I should ask Christa McAvoy out on a date. And so I did. And I prayed about that. I actually spent extended times in one of the rooms in the basement of a dormitory just praying. And my prayer specifically was, God, if you don't want me to do this, then find somebody to stop me. Otherwise, I'm going to pursue this. Because I knew that as far as I could tell, this was a girl who loved Christ, who wanted to honor him, who was joyful, who was friendly and beautiful. And this was everything I had been praying for in a wife. And so I asked her out. But at the time, I didn't give her any indication that that's what I've been thinking. No. Because I think I was too fearful to really admit it to anybody else except for myself and the Lord.
Which was a good thing. I mean, if you had given me an indication, I would have been scared.
Right.
But for sake of time, I'm going to breeze through a few things, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because we will also want to get to the next few years
of
our relationship.
Can I go a little more detail into the tortured... No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to mention that when you asked me out for this event, it was a double date with my cousin, my guy cousin, and his fiance. So it was the four of us. And afterwards, it was sort of customary for the guy to walk the girl back to her dorm.
Yes. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah. Well, afterwards, we split. Like, Jonathan just left.
Again, another shameful moment.
And so I remember, like, we said goodbye, and he left, and I was like, okay, that's it. And so I, like running on the sidewalk to catch up with my guy cousin and his fiance, and they were like, what? He left? What? Why did he do that? And I was like, I don't know. Well, from my takeaway from that was like, I bet my cousin felt bad for me and was like, hey, can you take my cousin out on a date to Jonathan?
You're so hard on yourself.
That was my takeaway. And it was cemented because I did not hear from you for 3 entire weeks.
During which
3 entire weeks.
I was praying and yea, verily fasting. I don't know if I actually fasted, but it seemed like it. Whether this was the right step for me to take, because man, to go on one date and then just another date, like, that's moving way too fast for a lifelong decision 3 weeks. What's 3 weeks in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, and my perspective is like, he's not interested, and someone set this up as a charity event.
And the very opposite was true. So I asked her out again.
Yep.
And then, and you
2 weeks later, and it was like a breakfast thing, wasn't it?
I think we just had a meal together,
Yeah.
and then we continued to do it again and again, and it became more consistent, although not very natural.
No,
this was not the sort of thing where we just begin to fall in love with each other. It was actually a little bit draggy.
It was very.
Would you say draggy?
Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I didn't commit to use the word draggy, but
I just made that word up. Like draggy as in, am I feeling this?
Yeah.
Does she like me? For all I knew, I liked you, and I wanted to continue it, but I wasn't getting the same vibes from you.
No. And this was the end of my sophomore year, end of your senior year. Yeah. And at that point, we were away from each other for the summer, although you came and visited me and my family during the summer. During the weekend, my brother got married.
Yes.
And I remember that was like
raising the stakes.
I was like staring at you like, do I want to do this with him? I don't know. It was scary. And then the next semester, I was traveling with an evangelist family, and so I wasn't even on campus.
Right.
So it was like we just started dating, and then we were apart from each other for 6 months.
Yeah, trying to maintain a long distance relationship
when it had just started.
Oh man, those conversations on the phone were torturous. Yeah. I remember trying to draw out conversation, and you were just kind of pulling back, and I tried to ask you questions. And I just remember thinking, so this is what a relationship feels like. Yeah. This is a lot of work, and it wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't fun at all. And all of that, I was tortured, and I was praying, and I was getting counsel. I was talking with my parents, and like just trying to figure out what should I do, because I did have a list of things, kind of an ideal list of my ideal husband. And there were some things on there that didn't match with you.
Probably the majority.
Well, I knew that you said you loved God.
I was a male who claimed to be a Christian.
And so, but to your credit and to my, there were things on there that weren't really that important. It was just sort of things I thought, hey, I kind of like this in a husband, and I would pray through that list. And so I was tortured because I was talking with you. So everything came to a head in, I think, November.
Yeah.
It was November. When I called, and I don't remember what I said, something about, I don't think we should do this anymore.
Yes, I think you said something about you've been praying about a relationship and didn't think it should continue.
Yeah.
And I don't remember everything I said. I just felt this cold paralysis creeping over me in this sense of, oh, this is how it ends. And we managed to wrap up the conversation somewhat cordially, and I collapsed on the floor in the fetal position and sobbed because this was the end of dreams for me. But on the other hand, and I'm just thinking about this right now, what a clear way of the Lord communicating to me that this wasn't the thing, except that I couldn't find myself liking anybody else. And for me, Christa was the one. And I thought I could date other people, but I had no desire to. And so that's well, that's how it worked out. And we had plans to be with each other over Christmas, I think,
over Thanksgiving,
which we wisely canceled those plans.
We didn't talk about whether we were canceling them. It was just understood.
Okay, no.
But you had said something about, okay, when you get back to campus, let's connect.
So this was November, and we'd be back on campus the following January. So we had a couple months, maybe 2.5 months, to sort of think over things.
I didn't see any need to connect when we got back to campus.
During which time,
what's there to talk about?
Right. One positive for me was that it provided an opportunity for me. I think my parents graciously allowed me to visit them in Korea. I hadn't been in Korea for a long time, so back where I had grown up, and so that was nice. My brother and I went to Korea, and then we came back, and knowing that this time to reconnect and to actually have a face-to-face to establish, is this ending the relationship real or not? And so we sat down together. And do you want to tell how that went?
Yeah. Well, when I got back on campus, I remember I had several missed calls from you, and I don't remember if you had texted at the point, and I remember coming back and my roommate saying, Jonathan called, and I was like, why do we have, I already said it was
So
over. Why do we
I
have,
called your cell phone and
yes,
called your room
yes,
phone.
yeah. And so we finally set up a time to meet. And I remember I walked up, it was raining. I walked up and I saw you, and my first impression was how thin you looked. You were already thin, but I guess you had been sick.
I have been very sick.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you had lost a lot of
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
And so we went and sat,
My clothes hanging off of me in drapes.
looking gaunt.
Gaunt skeletal figure.
Yeah, and we sat
Haggard.
down
Lovesick.
at this like the snack shop, whatever it was called. Did not get food.
No.
We just sat down with our umbrellas, and
Our umbrellas.
it was
It's
raining.
just raining.
I specifically remember it was raining,
Mm. Hell
and
appropriate.
it was
Oh,
appropriate. Yes,
just fitting.
and it was like a little bit of small talk, like very, very minimal.
Yes.
And then I think you said, "So you think it's over?" And I said, "Yeah, it's over." And it was like, "Okay, well, thanks for meeting."
Yeah.
And then we both left, and I remember I just sobbed,
Yeah.
and I went straight to there was it was called the prayer room
Mhm.
in the bottom of the dormitory. It was just like a dark, quiet room
Mm.
that nobody was able to
Yeah.
talk in.
Yeah.
And I just went straight there and just cried and prayed.
Hmm. And you know what I did?
What?
I talked with a friend.
Yeah.
I remember we sat on the bleachers by the athletic field.
In the
Yeah.
rain?
I don't remember it raining. It might not have been that evening.
Okay.
If it wasn't raining, but I do remember that being a very helpful talk.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then I remember, I don't remember if it was that night. I think it might have been like
Mhm.
within a few days as I was praying about it. I've already mentioned this list of things that I had that I kind of felt like he's not really matching up. And I'm talking with my parents about it, and I realized like, he is a really godly guy.
Mm. Mm.
And maybe these sort of temporal things on my list, maybe they're not that important.
Mm. I may
And
not have movie actor good looks, but I have godliness.
you're very good looking. Um, and I remember just praying and thinking through that. And this is like all within the same week. And so a very short amount of time. One would think I could have thought of these things before, but no.
That's okay.
So I remember talking with my dad and saying, "Dad, I think I love him." And he said, "You got to tell him." And I said, I can't, I just broke up with him. I can't yank him around like that." And he said, "You have to tell him."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I sent you a very stoic email.
There's an email
saying like, "Jonathan, comma, I have regrets about the things I said. Could we meet?" Or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, those were the exact words, I think. And when I got that email, it was an utter shock to me. And
Yep.
I gathered all my wise men and astrologers, and we came around and we dissected that sentence and diagrammed it and parsed every word, and we really tried to understand the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Me in particular. And I was advised to wait a full 24 hours before responding, which I did. And I made it exactly 24 hours because I could not wait to respond. And I remember, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I remember what I wrote in my journal around that time after we got together
Yeah.
again, that it was as if the Lord had called Lazarus come forth to what I thought was our dead relationship. And
Think I ever knew.
oh,
that.
really? Oh, yeah. I
You need to
written.
read your journal.
Yeah, you should read my journal. It's us. What I thought was completely dead.
Yeah.
Suddenly heard the voice of life
Mhm.
coming to call it. So after I got that email, we met,
We did.
and at that point, the conversation flowed, and we connected in a way we hadn't before. And
Yeah.
we at that point, all the questions about is this how relationships need to work out? This feels really draggy. All that was just gone. It's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yes. Well, I will say, I did talk with my parents a lot about this. I prayed about this a lot. And one thing that they had mentioned was like maybe with my list of things that I thought were important, maybe I was like tightly grasping to this penny and God is trying to give me $1. Or another literary reference that resonated with me was Anne of Avonlea, when she has like this vision of who she wants to marry, and she keeps saying no to Gil, and then she finally realizes, no, I love him. I don't need this. And I think I used one of those analogies with you that night we met and told you.
I remember you calling me Gilbert Blythe that night.
Do you remember me saying your $1?
No, you're my $1.
But from that night, our relationship, like all of the progress we had made in like the whatever 8-9 months prior to the breakup, like we just took like doubled that in like the first week after we got back together. And the reason why is because I was finally open with you. I was finally open and vulnerable with you to be like, I love him.
Yeah. I think that there were fears on your part of being hurt.
Yes.
Not wanting to open up to someone and then risk being your heart broken, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And I'd never been in a relationship that deep like that before. Ever been in a relationship that I had intended to be going toward marriage. And so it was new for both of us. And in our case, it's not the case for everybody. In our case, we, you're the only one I dated, and the one I dated is the one I married. And that's how it worked out in our case. But and then the rest is kind of went on from there. We got engaged and married.
And in
2008.
2008.
Yes.
15 and a half years.
That's right. Yeah.
But anytime we come to our anniversary in June, and even just right now, just talking about it, the big thing that stands out to me is Jesus led us all the way.
Yeah. Because
there's no way, obviously. I mean, you listen to our story and it's like the stops and starts and like all of these crazy things of, no, it's over. Oh, I'm in love with you. Like, all of these crazy things where do they even know who they are? And God through it all is graciously leading us together. And I'm so glad.
Glad we're married.
Yeah.
I think too, another lesson is the importance of daily walking with the Lord.
Yeah.
And just having that relationship with Christ that is, we tend to think of the big decisions like marriage and career and children and moving as we focus a lot of energy into how we make that decision, but we might never be at a point where we can make that decision unless we had made a bunch of little good decisions along the way. And I think that's one thing our parents instilled into us, obviously, from our childhood. But we look back not just on our marriage, on how we met and started dating, but even since we got married and the way that the many ups and downs and valleys and mountaintops of the Lord led us through, that it was God leading us. Yeah. And we look back at paths we could have gone and think there was no reason why we wouldn't have gone that way other than the fact that the Lord in his sovereignty just closed that door and led us this way. And we are so thankful, and the Lord gets all the credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for, if you are in a stage of dating or even just decision with something that's not relationship related, just trusting the Lord with that. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge, look to him, and he will direct and make straight your path.
Yes.
And we can see God doing that in many areas of our life, not just our relationship together.
Yeah.
And so grateful also for godly counselors like my parents and friends that God put in our life to help direct us this way.
Yeah. Man, so many lessons to draw from that. But I think what you said from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is probably the central one, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, and in every way acknowledge him. And what a joy that is. What to be able to trust the Lord. And so hope you enjoyed our sharing with you how we met.
Yeah, I'll try to dig up a very awkward picture of our first date and put it in the show notes. We can talk about this podcast.com so you can look there for any awkward pics.
You will enjoy it. And thank you so much for being with us. Hope to see you next time.